This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It is sponsored by Independent Bank, and every week this time we talk with interesting people doing interesting things in the community. And Katie Huckle, my co-host, I can't think of anything more interesting than local theater.
Absolutely. These guys, they're a group that shines so brightly, so we want to say welcome to the Cadillac Footlighters.
Jay, Quinn, Jacob, and Liz are here. And we'll start with Liz because Liz is the director of A Christmas Story, which is coming very soon.
Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol.
I've done that this whole time.
Christmas Story is a very different
like,
show.
No,
wait,
I got hung
the
up
lamp?
on that. That's the tongue getting stuck to the pole, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're going to have to do that maybe again because I've
been doing it this whole rehearsal.
have,
You're
have
good.
you really?
Yes.
Okay, I don't feel so bad then. So, Liz, you are directing. Is this your first directing foray for the Footlighters?
Not technically. I've worked in assistant directing positions with my lovely junior Footlighters. I'm so excited to see so many of them decide to come out and audition for this show. We've got a lot of talent from all ages, and I really enjoy just working with this community. This group of actors is wonderful. And yeah.
Is that part of the reason why you were chosen to be director is because you did have experience with the younger folks and there is a younger cast or at least some in this production?
I can't necessarily speak on that because I wasn't on the board, but you know, I know that working with these kiddos has been a part of my journey when it comes to theater. I went on to major in it in college, and you know, coming back, I'm just so honored to be able to have this opportunity to work with this great community. Where
did you go to school for theater?
Alma College.
Alma College. Okay,
yes.
That's really good because I went on a field trip to Ferris State today with 11 of my students here at the CTC, and one of them really wants to be involved in theater, and you probably know who that person is, but Audrey Schwert is one of my students, and she's involved in Legally Blonde, and she wants to get involved in acting, so we're trying to get her involved in the send her the right direction.
Well, and we have two really bright stars in Cadillac at graduates at Alma Theater program, which would be Shayna Biller and Sally Goggin, both from Alma. Did you know that?
Yes, absolutely. We've had many conversations about it.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
We're like part of the, network now, right?
Oh,
The
absolutely.
theater system. Come back to Cadillac. Bring your talent back here. Yeah. So awesome. When you were cast as director, let's say, what did you think about the obligation of time during the holidays? I want to throw that out to our audience just because it's a big commitment, Liz. And so how did you make that decision that the rest of life was going to go on hold for a minute?
Honestly, I think that this is such a great way to give back to our community during the holidays, and I was more concerned to have enough actors on board who wanted to put together a show that was ready for the holiday season. It is truly a huge time commitment, especially with Thanksgiving right around the corner, and so I'm just grateful that we have such a committed group of actors who are ready to put on a great show. So It's been fun. I've been in the holiday spirit since the summer.
I bet.
Yeah.
You found out, right?
Exactly.
Let's move to Jacob. What character do you play?
I play Mr. Bob Cratchit.
Oh, boy, the accent's coming. Yeah.
It's getting there. It's getting there. It's not perfect yet, but it is getting there.
Okay, and I always ask this question. It's interesting to me. Did you receive the role that you auditioned for?
Actually, that was like the last role I auditioned for because I was originally going for either Jacob Marley, because my name obviously, and I just tried out for Scrooge because why not and such. And it was getting close to the end of auditions. So I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess it's not gonna happen. But then Liz, she was like, hey, I want you to try Bob Cratchit real quick, and I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, we got a group of people, and then it went really well, and thankfully I got a good part, so I'm really happy to have it.
Awesome.
Why don't we go back to Liz? So were there people in the casting process that ended up with roles maybe that you didn't see them having because their audition sparked something in you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think that is the best part about being on this side of the table. And it's something that I never understood as an actor why certain casting decisions happen, and you can't really understand it until you've done it yourself. But the way we did auditions this time, it was fun to see different actors play around with each other, try different things, get the opportunity to work with them, look at strengths, and figure out who fits with what. And, I think that the way that we casted the show, people are playing to their strengths. People are doing exactly what we need to tell this really wonderful story, and it's exciting.
Quinn Godfrey is here. Quinn, what's your role?
Tiny Tim.
Okay. How did the role come to you? Explain that.
So, I don't really know how to explain it. It was just, I had auditioned for, basically every other child role that I could have auditioned for except for Tiny Tim. And I had read all of the, all of the Cratchit Girls and Fan, and I even read for Peter, which is one of the Cratchit boys, and I never read for Tiny Tim. And so when I got the call about being Tiny Tim, I was very surprised.
How much experience do you have in theater, Quinn?
I believe I've been doing theater for 5 years.
How old are you, Quinn?
I'm 12.
Okay,
Nice.
so almost half your life. Yeah, and you've been bitten by the theater bug. Would you say so? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you like most about it?
Well, when I really noticed that I loved acting and I wanted to do it for basically ever, is in Junie B. Jones, because I just felt like I had been a main character before, but I had never been the main character, and so I was super excited about that. And I felt like inside of me it was like, hey, do this for the rest of your life. And so then I decided to do it, basically.
And this is the reason why it's so important for the Footlighters to extend to the youth.
Absolutely.
And that has not always been done in Cadillac, but in the last 6, 7, 8 years, there are youth productions and there are teen productions, and that just feeds the pipeline. Wouldn't you agree, Liz?
Absolutely. I mean, I got started about 10, 12 years ago. So, Quinn's life.
Right.
And, I think it's such a great skill for any young person to go into. It teaches empathy, it teaches teamwork, and you begin to impress yourself with what you're able to accomplish. And so knowing that the opportunities for our youth is something, especially our youth are getting opportunities that I never thought Cadillac would see the day. Mm-hmm. And so that's just so exciting, especially to be able to help foster this program and see talent like Quinn and a lot of the other kiddos in our cast. It warms my heart.
Awesome. Let's go to Jay and let's talk about if someone in our audience had
if we only had a webcam right now, everyone would know the part that Jay is playing.
Oh, it's just magnificent. It is just, you're talking, shh, because we don't want to, But Jay, if someone hadn't read A Christmas Carol or seen A Christmas Carol, some in the audience, what would you say? I mean, just give us a little bit of a overall summary of the show, what it means, and why it's super important at Christmas time. I know it's a bit tall order, but please.
First, I'd wonder what planet they've been living on, because there have been so many versions of it. Some are classic and beloved and familiar, and others, I think Liz, when our read-through, had us all say which was our favorite version of the show itself, because there's been a lot of movie versions of it, TV versions. And most of the kids, if I remember correctly, Quinn, all like the cartoon version, the Muppet version. What was your favorite?
I think mine was the one with Jim Carrey.
Okay, so that one's animated, right?
But not
That's good.
Muppets.
Also a little scary. I can't watch that one. Not a Muppet fan? All right, well, now we know. But I guess if you don't know the story at all, I think Liz described it really, really well in the Cadillac News recently, where it's a story of redemption. It's a story about how at any point in life we can come to understand ourselves and our place in this world a little bit better, and turn things around, whether that's through, friends and family, circumstances, or 3 random ghosts that drop in on you overnight. And Rich, real quick, I need to, because if Joe Bauman listens to this, he'll kill me for not saying this as a board member, but I just want to point out that we have had, we call it now the youth program, but we've had a juniors program with Footliters for quite a bit longer than 6 or 7 years. I don't know if maybe the types of shows they've been doing are more a reminder, but Liz was in those shows as a kid, and Laura Porter was a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of other names that I'm going to forget, and I wish I would remember so I could say them. But it's been going on for quite a long time. And we've always tried to keep the youth from, prior to when I joined, and I've been around for 7 years now with Footliters. We've had that program, and it's been beloved, and the kids have loved it. And a lot of those kids have come back and done things with us as adults if they leave and come back. So, again, Liz being a great example of that. So I just want to make sure that in case anybody from Footliters in the past listens to this and says, "What? Juniors has been around forever." I don't want anybody to.
And I can tell you that 6 or 7 years could very well be 13 or 15, because at my age, time is getting away from me.
It's completely. The pandemic, I think, affected everything too. Everything feels like it was just last year, but it was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah. So your role is Ebenezer Scrooge.
It is. I assume it's just because I was the most cantankerous, crotchety person that auditioned.
Okay.
But
You were
got
not
no comment.
cantankerous.
No comment,
crotchety.
Liz. No comment.
No comment.
despite what my wife tells everybody, I have not been practicing for this for my entire life, adult life. But yeah, it's a great deal of fun. It's a challenge. I think Sally talked about this with Hello Dolly. The older you get, the harder it is to memorize lines. And, you know, Scrooge does have a lot of lines. He does like to talk to himself a lot. So there's quite a bit of monologue type stuff. And I'm sure Liz is a little stressed about whether or not I'll have it all together by next week.
She is shaking her head right now. So that's sounds like a firm no on that.
But it's been a great deal of fun to take, you know, a character that changes so much from the beginning to the end of the show. So it's been really cool.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Christmas spirit for a minute. And Liz, you've been in the Christmas spirit since the summer, you said. But we'll ask Jacob, does this show have the ability to take someone from like a bah humbug mood into the Christmas spirit? Can it change somebody?
100%. I think it definitely starts as like, oh, where can we go from here, you know? And then later on, and like further into the production, it just, you see the change in Scrooge, and you see he becomes more, wow, joyful, you know? And he, yeah, just really happy and delightful and Christmas spirit, you know? And really good.
Yeah. What about you, Quinn? Would you say it could change somebody?
Definitely.
Tell me why.
So, like, there are a lot of people in the, like, production, like the role of Fan, which is Scrooge's little sister, Tiny Tim, and all, like, the sick roles and stuff. I feel like that could really bring someone to feeling like, wow, there's something more than just being grumpy all the time, and you have to help other people still, but and not just be like, bah humbug.
Well said.
That brings up a question, Liz. How many in the cast?
I haven't done a head count, but I think we've got the 25,
I think so.
25 to 30.
Whoa.
Close.
So,
And that's on stage. That's not including people
Yeah.
working behind the scenes.
and we have a lot of great people working behind the scenes too to make sure we have a wonderful production, wonderful set, props.
Who's running costumes?
Who is running costumes? My lovely assistant director, Vicki Martin,
Okay.
is working on our costumes. So that's very exciting, especially doing a period piece. I'm excited for Jay's costume.
Have you seen it yet?
I spend most of the show in pajamas. So, yes, I have seen it.
Okay.
Tried it on. Wife has approved. Yeah.
Well, you can't have Jay without PJs.
Can we
Can't have
talk?
PJs without Jay.
Well, I want to talk about what your wife had to say about, you know, the look that we're sporting today. Could you share that with the group?
So I don't have hair, as some people might know. I've been bald for several years, and I'm not afraid to wear a wig for a part if need be, right? Which has been a lot of fun. But the primary way I try to change my look is I do different things with my facial hair. This time around, I'm trying to be very period, and so I have ridiculous mutton chops. And I've never before in 35 years with my wife had this particular look. And if the way she can't look me in the eye at home is any indication, it's a little startling.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah.
Or the fact that she walks 6 feet behind you in public.
Yeah,
That kind of is an indicator.
Yeah. Well, and the hard part is when you're walking through Meijer, you can't tell people why you look like this.
Right.
Right. Anyway.
You could start wearing your costume around.
Right. Yeah. I just need one of those. I need a sandwich board. And this is not my usual. Anyway, whatever.
We need the detail. We need to know. I know people are going, oh gosh, it's the holidays. We need to get our family to this show. Where, when, times, please.
So we will be at the Cadillac High School auditorium that has been newly renovated, starting on November 22nd at 7 o'clock p.m. We have another show Saturday, not September, November. Time flies when you're having fun.
Right.
November 23rd at 7 p.m. And then the following week, after you get your Thanksgiving meal and do your Black Friday shopping, come see us again Black Friday at 7 o'clock. And then 2 shows the following Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m.
So there is one matinee on the 30th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I want to go back to Jacob. For people your age that are listening, let's say, and they're thinking about, I might want to put my toe in the water, and I might want to be an actor, or I might want to be in a show, or I might want to be a part of this positive energy known as the Footliters. What would you tell somebody about it?
Well, I would just tell them just go for it. And if it doesn't work out, there's always something else. But if you are like nervous of what other people would say, don't listen to them. Like, just block them out and just go for it. It's theater. It's fun. It's joyful. Like, you can meet so many different people, like, different people. But yeah, just go for it. Be yourself.
It's the one place in life where you can act like a fool,
Yeah.
and everybody expects it.
Yes.
How many productions have you been in, Jacob?
With Footliters, I've been with, I have done 5. I've done so many.
Okay.
I've done 5 or 6 with them.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, I would have to say The Addams Family. That was my first production. And
Okay.
I was one of the main roles in there.
Okay. And obviously, I would think the first one is always, you have an attachment to that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because my audition was definitely not the best, and I didn't think I was ever going to get a role. But then I got a call saying I was going to be Lucas Beinke, the husband or fiance of Wednesday. I was shocked. I was complete shocked. I was like, Mom, Dad, oh my gosh. That role I tried out for, and then, just went from there. I was nervous because I was meeting, everybody, and I was kind of the oddball out. But then, I started talking, and then now these are my good friends, good buddies.
How about yours, Quinn? Do you have a favorite that you've acted in so far?
Junie B. Jones for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Why? What was great about Junie B. Jones? Did you read the books before you did that role?
So my first grade teacher, I think she was Mrs. Gzak, and she read the books to us a whole lot. And every time that she'd think of something, every time she'd read something that was like mischievous and stuff, she'd look at our class and like think that we do that or something. And I had never read them by myself, but I had people read them to me. And then after I was in the play, then I kind of started reading them and got the whole series.
I think I have the whole series in one of my kids' rooms at some point because they had them all. So
I thought maybe it was because you didn't feel like you really had to act to be Junie B. Jones. Like, You just embody her spirit everywhere you go.
He says this a lot.
You just got a side eye. Yeah.
Well, I have a question for Jay because he's been in so many roles. I won't make him say what his favorite was of all the roles that he's played, but I would like to know dream role.
You've asked me this before. I always wanted to be a voice actor, but I never really thought about doing theater acting until I got involved with the Footliters. And so I used to be a part of the play selection committee, and I've been dropped off the play selection committee now because I'm useless. Because I'm just not that familiar with a large variety of plays. Like Liz will drop the name of a play, during rehearsal because something reminded her of whatever, and it's a blank look on my face because I've never heard of it. I have no idea what she's talking about. So it's hard for me to say that I have a bucket list of roles. And I've heard people talk about that. Like, here's, 5 people I'd love to play. I just don't know enough shows to know. Like, I see what we're doing the next season, and I look at all that, and I go, oh, that'd be fun, and go audition for it. It doesn't.
Chameleon-like is what you are, I would say.
What's that?
Chameleon-like.
Well, yeah.
You can be anybody.
I'm not a leading man. I'm much more of a character actor type, and I enjoy that. It's a lot of fun. That's the fun.
I beg to differ.
Why don't we talk about, so if you're not familiar with plays, so what about a movie that could be adapted into a play? Is there a certain actor that you would like to be?
That's a good one.
Or put him on the spot.
Yeah. So it would be one of those actors who so who it wouldn't be is somebody like oh gosh, his name just fell out of my head. Kevin Costner.
Okay.
Right? Kevin Costner plays Kevin Costner in every movie he's in.
Okay.
Right? I've never, even when he played Robin Hood, he famously lost his English accent halfway through it, right? Leading to Carrie Elwes making fun of him in the spoof version of Robin Hood to say, unlike some Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent. So I like those guys that you almost have to do a double take to know, oh, it is that guy in that show, right? And I'm not coming up with somebody right now, so I'm sorry that you put me on the spot and I failed, but it would be something like that. I enjoy the roles where my mother comes to the show and has to ask my wife, which one is Jay? Because she doesn't know. She can't tell. She doesn't realize it for a moment, right? That's what I enjoy.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, we have to ask Liz, but she's a director and an actress. So what's your favorite ever that you've played?
It's hard to say. In college, I had the opportunity to do the show called She Kills Monsters, and I like different shows for different reasons. I love this one because it was my first time doing stage combat, swinging around a sword. And like any time that I've learned, like as I've gotten older, it's not necessarily about the part you have, but what role is the most fun to play.
Right.
And like that was fun because I had the opportunity to learn a new skill. One that I can think of, this was my last show with the Footliters, but 12 Angry Jurors I was in, and it was my first time playing more of an antagonist type role, or like neutral character, someone who you didn't know. And I typically either played a comic relief role or straight up just villain, never someone who went through any changes. And I think whenever you play a character that goes through a significant change, it's very exciting. It's a little bit more challenging, and I like to be challenged as an actor. And so I think that that's why it's so important that we do shows like this where we do have a character that has change, not just for an audience because it's always exciting, but as an actor, that's always fun to do.
So you talked about a challenge as an actor. What is your biggest challenge as a director in this particular production?
I would have to say my biggest challenge is figuring out how to communicate. I kind of talk about how every actor speaks a different language, And sometimes you know someone has it in them to get exactly what's going to sell the show, and trying to coax it out of them, finding the right words or finding something that makes sense to them. Like with some actors, I have to use music notations when it comes to breaking down a monologue. Others, I'm talking about action verbs, like what's your motivation? How do you approach this? What tactics are you using? And
Maybe emphasizing a certain word in a script.
that's one of my favorite. And so that, and I think the biggest challenge is not being able to have the time to do that with every single actor. Everybody in our cast is wonderfully committed, and I had the opportunity to work with our teenagers, and I wish I had the opportunity to work every single scene the same way that I worked with our teenagers, because I was able to see how much they grew from spending 45 minutes with me. And yeah.
Can you tell us the difference between directing children and directing adults?
This is where like the developmental stuff comes in, because when it comes to working with kids, it's more about, you know, building those like foundational skills. And so now working with the adults who have these very foundational skills, it's about working, you know, on building, you know, all right, so we've covered this, we've covered how to stand on stage. All right, now let's dive in a little bit more, dive into the meat of this. And there's a certain fun in that. And I think working with all age groups, that's also where some of the challenges is, because, you know, people in different developmental stages might not be able to pull from some places others can. And there's also a lot of wisdom that comes from our youth actors as well, and how they look at the world and drawing in from that. So, yeah.
All right. As we get ready to wrap up here, who sitting at this table has the ticket information committed to memory? Scrooge does. I mean, Jay does.
Since I have to make them, I hope I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so tickets are $10 at our outlets, Brinks Custom Framing and Horizon Books. They're $11 if you buy them online. You can do that at CadillacFootlighters.com/tickets. And they are $12 at the door. We now have the ability to take cards at the door, so you don't have to have cash at the door. As Liz mentioned, November 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 30th, all at 7 p.m. And then the 30th at 2 p.m. are the 5 dates.
How long is the show, Jay?
We're thinking, 2:15 to 2:30?
I hope it's not 2:30. I'm
Yeah, hopefully
thinking
not.
2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say that it's definitely family friendly, with a couple of moments of potential mild scariness. I don't know.
Yeah, there will be loud noises, quick lighting changes, and use of mild language, nothing incredibly intense, a little bit of alcohol use, but overall still very family oriented.
Okay. You know, I just have to say to families out there, this would be a great thing to do with the kids, grandma and grandpa, with their grandkids, because I think it gets your heart in the right place for Christmas.
Yeah.
It does, and not only that, but it gives you a great amount of respect for the amount of talent that we have here in Cadillac.
Amen.
Don't you think so?
Yes.
All right, we have a minute and a half left, so this is what I want to do.
Okay.
I want to give each one of you about 20 seconds to sell people who are on the fence about why they should come to this show. Jay, we'll start with you, and then we'll go around the table.
I just think it's a fun opportunity, as you mentioned, family. It's a great show. It's a very hardworking cast. I know it's around the holidays, but this cast has put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. You got people playing multiple roles in the show, which is always a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I think the effort that our production team, Liz and Vicky and Liz's mom, Heidi, who we haven't mentioned as well, who's putting the set together, and Brenda are putting the set together, really put in a lot of effort. And it's worth your while to come and see it. And we're also teaming up with Project Christmas. We need to mention that part as well. There's details on our Facebook page if you go look for that.
Okay.
Quinn.
Okay, so first of all, it's an amazing show, and Liz is an amazing director, and I hope everyone's excited to see Jay and Jacob and me and stuff and people like that to be in this awesome play and see the magic of Christmas, basically.
I love it. Jacob.
You guys are going to enjoy this. Definitely one of my top performances I've ever done, especially with amazing director like Liz. And just getting into the Christmas spirit. A lot of laughter, a little bit of sadness, but all in all, wonderful performance.
Liz?
I think everybody should come see the show because it's the holidays. It's the perfect way to kick off the season. And we have such a talented cast whose every performance that I've seen just keeps getting better and better. I get moved to tears every rehearsal, and I've seen it now 30 times. So if I'm still crying on the 30th and laughing, I know our audience is going to really enjoy it. Come bring your family after that big old Thanksgiving dinner and kick off the holiday season with us.
Christmas Carol.
November 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 30th. Jay and Quinn and Jacob and Liz, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Break a leg.